how many refugees we have in Republic of Moldova and what are their profiles?
In the moment, Moldova has around 380 persons who had been recognized as refugees. I understand they're coming from Turkey, from Syria and Ukraine and some other countries. In the last 20 years, Moldova has recognized around 1,000 persons, but they're not all here, and some became also now Moldovan citizens, so they're not refugees anymore.
Moldova is a small and poor country. Why would refugees come to Moldova?
Well, that's a very good question. First of all, there are many refugees in the world. Around 80 million people had to leave their homes because of persecution and war and conflict, and most do not come to Moldova and most do not come to Europe. They stay in neighboring countries. A few are coming, some transit through Moldova, but we sense the few decide to stay here. They have some form of linkages with Moldova, for instance, because they have used to study here, maybe they have relatives, some even have, let's say, partners, family relations here. So normally people choose Moldova and choose to stay in Moldova because of particular reasons.
We have in region a lot of discussion about refugees because of refugees come from Belarus, and Poland. So how need to be the communication of Kiev government and government from Chisinau about this in order to calm people and to inform them about these refugees?
Well, let's first of all hope that we will not face large displacement in future. So we all call on and hope that there will be not any form of conflict. Now, Belarus is a particular situation because of the politicalization of migration and refugee issues. We hope that this will be in due course be solved. But what is important is that refugees are not seen as a danger or as a fear, but people who are actually in danger and needs our help. And many countries are coping, many persons, and that's not only refugee related, but also migration related. I think it's important that we still see each other as humans, and that we, even if there are challenges, that we embrace them. But what actually Moldova experienced the last 20 years, despite all conflicts in the world, also not so far away, the numbers were never very high for Moldova.
How you can explain, from your perspective, why people are afraid of refugees? Because in Moldova we have and had a lot of fake news about refugees that they will come in Moldova. And this scared people.
Well, I think there is a general concern about foreigners and changes, but I think that many also Moldovans who live in other countries know also how uncomfortable it can be if you're not welcoming, but on the same time, once you're there, you integrate, you're quite often becoming a citizen, very valuable, and people are liked, and people see each other as humans with their names and not anymore with that people have a different passport. And then you have, and that's unfortunately in many countries of the world, you have instrumentalization of the topic. People for political gains try to describe the fear, and definitely, for instance, the COVID situation didn't make things easy. COVID moved also across borders, and the fear is something which had been instrumentalized for short-end gains, quite often political gains.
We celebrate today 20 years since ratified the Convention Republic of Moldova. What Republic of Moldova needs to implement more, to do more for refugees and for immigrants?
Well, I think Moldova has a very good legal framework. I think it's something which, you can always improve a little bit, but I think there have been, by the way, made 3 commitments also to the United Nations on how to improve, for instance, in the health sector. And so we are very pleased to hear, and we hope that that will be indeed then also implemented. But besides this, let's say, legal fine-tuning, this is, I think, the framework in which we work. Most important is the topic you just asked me a minute ago, is the feeling about refugees. I think that this whole atmosphere of fear, not to talk about it, I think we need to embrace that. We need to be very clear about it. Can be an enrichment for society, as Moldovans have been an enrichment in many other societies in Europe where they have immigrated to. Well, I hope that with the event and the convention, I think we celebrate, for instance, all a great international instrument. And I said it's great because quite often all this, paper and human rights, people feel like, well, what does it actually mean? But this is really an instrument which has saved people's lives. That's great, and I think that's important. The other, which it's not only restoring life, but it's actually restoring hope of people and dignity. At the very end, we do not want that people are actually refugees forever. We want that refugees stop to be refugees, that they become either one day be able to return home or become a citizen of the country, and by this the refugee being ceases to exist. And I hope that people go this way by integrating, which is a two-way stream. You need to be welcomed, but you need also to engage in the society.